Final score here in Atlanta for the SEC title. The Tide are victorious. Final score 27-24. Alabama. The score obviously a little bit close to me just watching the overall gameplay. Alabama was pretty definitive in the way they got this thing done. And how did they get it done? The defense, man, showed up in an elite fashion. One of the questions I had going in now was, all right, well, we saw the running game a little bit of Auburn. Give Alabama a little bit of trouble. Is that some Iron Bowl voodoo going on? Is that Peyton Thorne being the mobile quarterback? Alabama, especially at that second and third level, what they did super well, they closed the space. You saw a lot of tosses into the boundary. You saw a lot of perimeter runs. And Alabama, give them credit, man, at the second and third level, those linebackers, those safeties came up and filled with authority. Held Georgia to around 78 yards, did Alabama. Now, when it comes with it offensively, man, it felt like the question going into this game we had that we got answered was, will Jalen Milroe play his best game? Because we've seen Georgia throughout the course of the season, man. Like, we know what they are. Georgia's that team that plays ping pong with you, right? Hit it over the net, hit it over the net. And then at some point in time, you are going to make a mistake, and Georgia will pounce on it. They will feed on it, and that's going to be how they win the football game. Alabama, 0 turnovers. Goose egg there for Jalen Milroe, man. I mean, you cannot say enough good things about the way that he played today. We knew there was a chance now, if he played his best game, if he threw that Superman cape on when he got into this building in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, they had a chance to win this football game, and that was exactly what they did. Being able to have a lot of those design quarterback runs, made plays, ultimately made the play, in my opinion, to end up winning that football game. So Alabama, now the big question we're all going to have is, well, what happens when it comes to the college football playoff? I'm sitting here right now. Florida State, they just kicked off against Louisville. Michigan just kicked off against Iowa. And if you're watching this on Sunday morning, this whole discussion around the top 4 teams might be a little bit more clean. And clean is probably not even the right word to use. Might have a little bit more information, if you will. There's a way it looks on paper, and there's a way that it looks when you actually play the football game. So the resumes and the way that, this whole record shaped up for different teams across the country, that matters, and it should matter. That's probably the way you have to select your college football playoff teams. But if you're talking about the best 4 teams, from what I saw tonight on this field for Alabama against Georgia, Alabama, to me, I think they were one of the top 4 teams. Now, do with that information what you want to do. I would also say this. When you talk about Alabama and the one blemish they have on their resume, game against Texas in week 2 in Tuscaloosa, that has to matter. That should matter. I promise you that will matter to the committee. But what I would also say is Alabama in week 2 to now, very different football team. More confident on the back end, have a real identity with Jalen Milroe playing quarterback for them in this game. They didn't have in that game. Overall, I see a more loose, more confident, more energetic, more of an edge to this football team. Like, you cannot tell me that team week 2 in Tuscaloosa that played Texas was the same team that won the SEC title tonight. So all that's to say, if I'm in the committee, I have the worst job in America. I am just riddled with anxiety having to pick these top 4 teams. I don't envy y'all. We appreciate y'all, though. We appreciate y'all that are dialed in. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're following on the socials, on Twitter and Instagram, at JD Pickell. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. That horn says it all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.